Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel For the Love of Glitter. I'm Anna Crossland. Today we have another Shop Alter Ego palette to review. They are dropping palettes on us like it is Christmas and I'm not mad about it. So far they have the Temptress palette, which is the dupe for the Sultry palette, and I've done a review on that. And they also have a dupe for the Natasha Denona Gold palette. I also did a video for that, so I'll post those somewhere. Their newest dupe is called DAYDREAM, and this is a Huda Beauty New Nudes dupe. The New Nudes palette retails for $60 and this one retails for $18. I also have a code with them, which is just glitter in all caps, and that will save you 10%. It is not an affiliate code. I'm going to show you some finger swatches of the palette's shades side by side. I'm not going to really talk through them very much, just kind of show you. And then I'm also going to do a demo as well. So let's get into the new DAYDREAM palette. Here is the outer packaging. I'm honestly obsessed. I love clouds, and the fact that it's like purpley and pink really do add to the DAYDREAM concept. When you make an order, you do get these super cute stickers that you can use to like decorate your palette or whatever. I thought this was just a super cute touch. I don't know if I'm gonna decorate my palette because I love the way it looks, but these are adorable. We're gonna take a look at these palettes side by side. I can't tell, but from glancing at it, looks like the New Nudes palette has a little bit of a bigger pan size. As you can see, they have the same amount of mattes, they have glitters, so I'm super curious to see how well this dupes each other. Going to a friend's outdoor summer party, so I don't think I'm going to do anything too extreme. Probably not use glitter today. I might do like a 2 looks DAYDREAM versus New Nudes Huda Beauty palette. I think that'd be cool, so you can see some other versatile looks and see how close they match up. But for today we're just going to do something really simple. I'm going to start off by taking Glow from the DAYDREAM palette. Just a very pale, light pink. So the color like that in the Huda Beauty palette is called Bear. I'm gonna swipe off my brush. So the Bear does look a little more white toned as opposed to, and it is a little bit more pigmented going on. Can you guys see? Next, I'm going to take Bubbly from Alter Ego, which is the next lightest shade. It's kind of like a peachy pink color. And the shade like that is called Play in the Huda Beauty. So let me swipe off my brush. Here's Play from Huda Beauty. Okay, so these colors look the same, but I think the Huda Beauty goes on a little bit more pigmented right off the bat, but the Shop Alter Ego ones are buildable. I'm just gonna go back into Bubbly. Kind of see what happens. Yeah, so the colors look the same, and this one's buildable, but the new Nudes is a little bit more pigmented. Next, we're gonna go into Sun Kissed in the Daydream palette. And that one I think is Secret in here. These ones look a little bit different in pan, but in swatches look the same, and on the eye they look the same too. I feel like the Alter Ego one's a little bit patchier than the new Nudes one. What do you guys think? But the colors look the same. I think we're going to take a little bit of this shade Daybreak, which is the darkest brown in here, and just kind of put it a little in the outer crease. I can't wait to use the shimmers because I think the shimmers are going to be like amazing. We're going to take Raw because it's raw in the new Nudes palette. So I think it's, again, more pigmented right off the bat, but I mean, there's a big price difference too. But the Shop Alter Ego one's buildable still, so not too worried about it. Using a flat shader brush, we're going into the Daydream palette into the shade called Cloud 9, and the shimmers were like intense when I swatched them, more than the Huda, so, and easier to pick up too. Charmed, the shade. Do you see the difference in how it's applying? This is as close up as I can zoom, you guys. So I have to keep applying it from the Huda one onto my brush, like over and over. And I didn't use this one wet at all, but it's having a really hard time picking up the shade. This one was like a lot butterier, and this one's more powdery. So I feel like with the new Nudes Huda one, you definitely have to use a wet brush, whereas the Alter Ego one, you don't necessarily, obviously, to intensify it. I'm gonna wet my brush for the new Nudes Huda because I feel like it needs it. Okay, so now that I wet it, I feel like it's performing as good now as the Shop Alter Ego, but it has to be wet. Has to be. And I remember this too when I was first using it and reviewing it. Definitely looks chunky now. Let's try the Shop Alter Ego wet. Yeah, the metallics way outperform, I feel like, the Huda Beauty ones by far. I feel like when they weren't wet they looked more similar, and now that they're wet they don't look similar, because this one honestly looks more scaly and gross, and this one still looks smooth. I think at the end of this video I'm going to just put on the Shop Alter Ego one over it to hopefully try and make it look okay. Lastly, on the inner third, we're going to take Fairy Tale, which is the pink shimmer. This is not a wet brush. I just really want to show you guys how good these are, not even wet. Like, these are probably some of the most insane metallics I've ever used in any palettes. So that's really good. Okay, so then in the new nudes, it's called Daydream. Yeah, just going on more scaly on the new nude side. For the inner corner, we're gonna go into that light shimmer shade here called Starcrossed from Daydream. And in the new nudes one, it's called Crave. So I didn't really end up getting to tell you guys my thoughts from the last tutorial, but I felt like they looked pretty darn similar except for the shimmers. I actually went upstairs right after I filmed it and asked my husband which one's the high end and which one's the dupe. And no hesitation whatsoever, he pointed to the shop Alter Ego side, to the Alter Ego Daydream palette, and said, "That's the high end." And I said, "Nope." He's like, "I'm a guy, I don't know." And I was like, "Well, what made you think that it was the high end side?" And he's like, "It looks smoother." I was like, I know, right? Because like I said, the shimmer was starting to look real chunky on the new nude side. And then he said, it's also shinier. My husband thought the shop Alter Ego one was the high end side because he thought it looked better. Today I did the same thing. I have Alter Ego Daydream on one side and I have the new nudes palette on the other. I've been wearing it for a few hours now and I have to say that the glitter on both sides are starting to come off and crease, but it's been on for like 4 hours. They both did have about the same amount of fallout going on underneath, but applying the glitter, the new nudes one was a joke in comparison to the Daydream palette. Daydream palette, all I did was like one swipe. I did it on the left eye today. I did one swipe and it was pretty much there. I think I added a little bit to fill it in. And the new nudes one, you guys, I was like, why didn't I film this? This is kind of funny. Like, so I dabbed it on there and it didn't move past like right here. And I had to keep going back in, back in, back in. And I was like, this is just not like pressed together enough. Like there's nothing to really adhere it as much. It's almost just like falling apart like loose glitter. Harder to work with the glitters in the new nudes palette. I mean the Daydream palette just completely beat the pressed glitters 100%. That's something to think about too. So I'm kind of glad that I got to film a second day and use this again so I could really compare the two yet again, and the glitters are definitely better in this one. I did also use the concealer shades in both today and they felt very similar. In the end, both of them after a while did have fallout, so if you wanted to prevent that, I would wear some type of sticky base or glitter glue. Daydream palette, these metallics blew me away. I'm not joking. Like these are some of the best metallics, not even just compared to the new nudes, but in general, the best metallics I've ever used. The only palette that I have similar is the Urban Decay Metals palette, and those are kind of similar in texture. Like they're just amazing. You don't even need to use them wet. They're just so easy to work with and they apply like a dream. Swatching the mattes, they feel nice and buttery. They are a little bit patchier than new nude mattes. They just blend pretty flawlessly together and they're a little bit more pigmented, but you can build the mattes up in this palette to be just as pigmented. It takes probably about like 2 swipes versus the 1 swipe for the mattes, but then you have to work equally as hard for the shimmers as you do for the mattes in this palette. Does that make sense? So the shimmers, you have to work really hard in the new nudes one. You have to wet it. You have to do something. Apply it with your finger. And this one, you can apply it however you want and it's just gonna be amazing. Both of them have their pros and cons, but I definitely think Daydream has more pros than cons. Let me know your thoughts. Are you going to get Daydream or the new nudes palette? Honestly, if I didn't have the new nudes palette, I would be perfectly happy with this one. Why spend $60 versus $18? You know what I'm saying? To get the same look. And I felt like even though these were a little patchy upon applying it, once I had the shimmer and everything laid down, it just all came together, and even looking up close, I couldn't see that patchiness anymore. So it wasn't really a big deal. So I highly recommend this palette. I can't wait to use it more. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget you can get 10% off by using my code GLITTER. Again, not an affiliate code. If you thought this video was helpful or you liked it, then please like it and subscribe. You guys have a great day. Bye.